I didn't know how to feel when the invitation arrived. It came in the mail, crisp, formal, and impossibly calm. Her name, his name, the date, the church, the reception hall. No words of apology, no explanation, just a neatly printed card that reminded me of everything I had lost. I stared at it for a long time. My first instinct was to throw it away. My second instinct was to burn it. But I couldn't. Part of me, the part that still ached quietly every day, wanted to see it through. I wanted to witness the life she had chosen without me, not out of anger or revenge, but to finally understand what I had lost, what we had lost together. The marriage had ended 2 years ago, betrayal, pure and simple. I discovered her cheating by accident, walking in on a message she hadn't deleted, the words screaming her dishonesty. I confronted her that night. There were tears, there were apologies, there were promises that were hollow. I tried to forgive, I tried to save us, but some wounds are too deep to heal with words alone. Some trust, once broken, can never be rebuilt. And now here she was, inviting me to her wedding. She wanted me to witness her happiness with someone else, someone she had chosen over me. Part of me wanted to ignore it, to bury myself in silence. Another part of me was sick with curiosity. I wanted to see the truth with my own eyes. The day of the wedding arrived. I sat in my car outside the church, staring at the small building with shaking hands. I took a deep breath and told myself, "You are here for closure, not confrontation. You are here to watch, not to interfere." The church was filled with people, everyone dressed in their finest, smiles painted on faces. I found a seat in the very back, almost invisible. My heart pounded as I watched familiar faces greet each other, the sounds of laughter echoing in my ears. I felt like a ghost, present but unseen, invisible yet painfully aware of every detail. When she walked down the aisle, radiant in her white dress, my chest tightened. She looked breathtaking. Her hair was perfect, her makeup flawless, her smile bright. For a fleeting second, I remembered why I had loved her. The soft laugh, the way her eyes crinkled when she smiled, the small gestures that once made my world feel complete. But that memory was quickly replaced by the sting of betrayal, by the nights I had cried alone, by the trust that had been shattered beyond repair. Her new husband stood at the altar, grinning nervously, a man I had never met, but whose presence immediately felt like a challenge, a reminder of my own inadequacy in her eyes. He waited for her, excited, thrilled, blissfully unaware of the life I had shared with her. I stayed silent, my hands folded, my jaw tight. I didn't want to cry, I didn't want to speak, and I certainly didn't want her to see me hurt. The vows were exchanged, words flowing like honey, promises made with solemnity and pride. I watched them intently, studying her expressions, noting the joy in her eyes, and yet all I could feel was a hollow ache, a deep emptiness that no ceremony, no music, no clinking of glasses could fill. As the priest pronounced them husband and wife, I remained seated, motionless. Applause and cheers erupted around me. People clapped, laughed, some threw flower petals. I let it wash over me without flinching. I didn't belong there. I wasn't part of this story anymore. When the ceremony ended, I didn't mingle. I didn't offer congratulations. I didn't shake anyone's hand. I slipped out quietly, unnoticed, moving through the crowd like a shadow. Outside, the evening air was cool against my face, and for the first time in a long while, I felt a strange clarity. Driving home, my mind replayed every moment of our marriage. The fights, the laughter, the promises we made to each other, all tangled with the betrayal that ended it. I thought about how easy it had been for her to move on, how quickly she had woven someone else into the life we had built together, and I realized painfully that moving on doesn't always wait for closure. It often arrives before the hurt has even subsided. I didn't feel relief, nor complete despair. I felt something in between, understanding. Closure isn't always a confrontation. Closure isn't always a dramatic scene with raised voices and accusations. Sometimes closure is quiet, watching from the back, letting the life you thought was yours continue without you, acknowledging that the love you gave was real even if it wasn't enough to keep someone by your side. That night, I finally allowed myself to grieve. Not for her, not for the man she chose, but for the life I had imagined, the home, the laughter, the future we had planned together. Grief is strange. It comes quietly, like a shadow at your shoulder, reminding you of what once was. And yet, in grief, there is also clarity. I realized that I had loved fully, given completely, and walked away with dignity. I had learned that love cannot survive without trust. I had learned that betrayal can take away years of shared life, but it cannot take away the person I am, the lessons I've learned, or the strength I have gained. Weeks later, I looked at the photos posted online from her wedding. I didn't linger long, didn't dwell on what was lost. I saw her smiling with her new husband, and I felt a pang of sadness, yes, but also a quiet pride. I had survived, I had loved, I had lost, and I had remained whole. Sometimes the hardest moments are also the most necessary. Sometimes witnessing what once belonged to you slipping into someone else's hands is the only way to understand your own resilience. Sitting quietly in the back of her wedding, I finally understood that letting go isn't weakness. It's strength. It's clarity. It's freedom. I never regretted going. I never regretted leaving. And I never regretted loving her, even if it ended in betrayal. Love is never wasted, even when it doesn't last. And sometimes the greatest victories aren't loud, dramatic, or celebrated. They are quiet, unseen, and deeply personal. That night, in the shadows of the back pew, I found my peace.